So earlier today, the news dropped that Microsoft finished their acquisition offer of Activision Blizzard, buying them for $69 billion in total. Earlier, this acquisition was blocked by the CMA, the Competition and Market Authority in Britain, but this has now officially been approved. This is the biggest acquisition in the gaming industry since its inception, and it's absolutely massive because Microsoft itself was a massive player already in the gaming industry, and now they have also acquired one of the biggest studios known for Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, but also the Facebook games maker king of games like Candy Crush. So in the following Reddit post, I saw a beautiful comparison of the total revenue made by their gaming sections. But while looking at these numbers, I think it's important to realize that most of this revenue is also derived from selling hardware. Sony of course sells the PlayStation, Microsoft sells the Xbox, and Nintendo sells the Nintendo. This revenue is also included in these numbers, even though the profit margins on that are very minimal, if not negative. Nevertheless, we can see that Microsoft was already a very big player last year in the gaming industry, and now recently they have acquired Activision Blizzard here with a revenue last year of 8.8 billion. This year it dropped a little bit to the high 7 billion numbers. Now, this acquisition will have a major rippling effect throughout the gaming industry because Microsoft Gaming is already known for the Xbox Game Pass and wanting to really make gaming on demand more of a thing. And with the additional catalog of the Activision Blizzard games, this will be a lot easier than it was previously. And even though I do hold to the stock of Microsoft because I do think it's a great company, I also can very much see the argument that there's some anti-competitive practices going on here. And maybe this acquisition was a bit too big to allow, but nevertheless they allowed it anyway. So let's see exactly what this means for Microsoft's financials, and let's see just exactly how much this acquisition will directly impact their bottom and top line. So looking at the spreadsheet that we have here for Microsoft 2022, we can see that in the last fiscal year they had a revenue of $198 billion and an EBITDA of $97 billion. Even though Activision Blizzard is an absolutely massive company all on its own, most of the revenue and EBITDA derived by Microsoft are of course not due to its gaming segment. I think about 15 billion in 2022 was due to gaming, so selling the Xbox, selling Age of Empires 3, selling the Halo Master Chief Edition, all those kinds of things only amounted to about 15 billion in revenue. So of course Microsoft is a lot more than just a gaming company. And the additional around 8 billion that Microsoft will receive from this acquisition with Activision Blizzard is really just a drop in the bucket of their already massive revenue. Based on the flat numbers, their revenue is expected to grow by about 4% based on this acquisition alone, which, looking at their overall annual growth of around 11% year over year, is really not all that much. And the same goes for their EBITDA numbers. Last year they posted an EBITDA of 2.3 billion. Microsoft already makes 97 billion. So once again, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard is just a drop in the bucket for them. Although it is possible that the EBITDA numbers of the Activision Blizzard segment of the Microsoft business in the future will be a little bit higher than the 2.3 billion that we see here for the past year, because the Activision Blizzard department can very well profit from the cost cutting in synergies. Of course, Activision Blizzard no longer has to get their own accounting department, their own marketing department. They can all work together under the umbrella of Microsoft, therefore not operating as two separate entities, but one entity and one combined financial report, which can cut the cost here a little bit. But nevertheless, the direct impact of this on their EBITDA numbers is very minimal. The more scary thing about this though is that Microsoft will now be a very big player in the gaming industry, about as big as Sony, who is the biggest player in the gaming industry as of right now. And the fear, of course, is that Microsoft will leverage their new intellectual properties to really push the Microsoft Game Pass and really outcompeting the other studios and other franchises. The acquisition of Activision Blizzard will also cost them $68 billion. This is a massive, massive sum, but funnily enough for Microsoft, they can definitely easily pay this. Last year on their balance sheet, they had about 100 billion of excess cash. While not quite excess, of course, they do have put these in like short-term treasuries. It's just a lot of money that they have on the balance sheet to use on a rainy day, or maybe to capitalize on an opportunity like the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Even after buying the 69 billion sum, as well as all the legal fees involved to getting this deal closed, I still expect Microsoft to be sitting on a pretty big pile of money here, several tens of billions at least. So there's absolutely no risk that Microsoft is over leveraged because of this deal. They can easily afford this, and they may even be able to afford 5 more. So these were just my quick thoughts on the acquisition that happened today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio!